Hi friends. I thought today I would get started by telling you about our history with infertility and where we started and how we got to where we are today. So it started back in May 2011. Brady and I had been married 2 years and I decided to go off birth control. So we weren't really deciding to start our family. I was just kind of getting ready for the time that we would. And October came, and we had decided that we were going to wait a year, but I was just going to get off the birth control. And every single month we thought for sure I was going to be pregnant because I wasn't on birth control. So October came, and I received a very distinct prompting that Brady and I needed to start trying to have a family. And I was confused by this, but I told Brady and we both thought, okay, let's start trying. And so the journey began. So that was October 2011. So we were living in Heber, Utah at the time, and I was working full-time at UVU. And I mean, obviously the first couple months we didn't really think anything of it. Come spring, and I still wasn't pregnant. And I was starting to question a little bit, but not too much. One of my great friends had gotten pregnant and had some leftover Clomid. And so I was like, I'm going to take it without seeing a doctor. So I took it that June. Obviously, nothing happened. So that summer, I went and saw a regular doctor. I didn't really want to make a big deal of it. So I go and he's like, yeah, no problem. I'll write a prescription for Clomid. You'll be pregnant in no time. There's no tests or anything. And I'm thinking, great, this is just what I needed. So I did Clomid a couple months, and obviously it didn't work. And so I went and saw an OBGYN in Provo. And I kind of told her what was up, and she did some blood tests on me. This was now winter. She did some tests on me, found my progesterone levels were really low, and said that that could be a reason. I'm thinking, yay, we have an answer. It's going to be so easy from here on out. So she actually put me on Femara instead of Clomid, which I liked a lot more, so it was really, good thing for me. And I went and got my tubes checked with the dye at the hospital. I didn't even think of it as being a big deal. I dropped Brady off at school. I went right after my appointment went, and afterwards I'm thinking, oh, that was a little bit of a big deal. But yeah, everything was good. My tubes were clear. So we proceeded with the Femara. So now I took the Femara for 4 or 5 months. And at that point, then we started thinking if I should go see a fertility specialist. And the reason that we were hesitant was because it wasn't covered by insurance and it was very expensive. And honestly, I just didn't want to admit that something was really wrong. Like, I like to pretend that everything was going to be fine, and Brady was still in school, so it was going to work out, but I just didn't want to admit to myself that maybe something could be wrong. So I didn't see a specialist in June 2013. I finally decided that I needed to see someone. Well, then I found out that my insurance started over every July, so I was like, okay, so I'll see him in August. Well, then August came, and Brady and I decided to move to Arizona, and so I'm like, oh, okay, then I'll wait till I move to Arizona. I moved to Arizona, and I didn't go see a specialist because, again, I was scared. I just really didn't want to. So I went and saw Dr. Hewish in Mesa and told him my problems, and he said it sounded like I had endometriosis. So, he wanted to do the surgery to get the endometriosis away, and I said, great. So we did the surgery. I got it all removed. He said there was some endometriosis in there, and then I was back on the Femara and trigger shots. And so I did that for about 4 months, and it still wasn't working, and I finally thought, I need to see someone. It's been too long. And then so I did my research, and there's a lot of great doctors in the Phoenix area, but I ended up seeing Dr. Mark Amos for my first consultation. And Brady and I met with him, and we knew right then that he was the doctor for us. We didn't have to see anyone else. And so that was in May 2014. And so with Dr. Amos, we did all the different tests, found my thyroid was low. He told me I had PCOS, the endometriosis, and we just made a plan. And so we ended up doing an IUI, and it was unsuccessful. And we did 2 more. So we did 3 total IUIs, and then we decided to do in vitro. So we started the in vitro process last December 2014. And I mean, it was intense, but it was exciting because I thought for sure I would get pregnant. I mean, I made a lot of eggs. Every single cycle with the IUIs, like everything was great. He had no questions at all that I would be pregnant at the end of this. So, and neither did I. I was very confident. And so we did our first transfer. We only ended up with 3 embryos, although they were all perfect. We got 17 eggs, and 100% of them fertilized, which is amazing. But only 3 embryos made it to the day 5 blastocyst, which they were all like the best they could be. So I was like, okay, yay, 3, we're gonna have 3 kids, it's gonna be great. And so our first transfer, we decided just to do 1 embryo, and then we'll do another, and then another, and we'll have 3 kids. So we did the first transfer it was in March. So we did the first transfer, and then I found out that it didn't work, and it was heartbreaking. I was shocked, and my doctor had no explanation for it. So anyways, we did another transfer in May with our remaining 2 embryos, and we prayed. We asked everyone to join us in fasting and prayer, and we had so many people fasting and praying for us. I just knew this was going to be the time, that it was our time to become parents, and maybe even twins. We were so excited. And when we found out that neither one took and I wasn't pregnant, it was completely devastating. I've never felt that much sorrow in my life. I felt completely forgotten, and I can't even describe to you. It just felt like so many questions of why is this happening, and what am I supposed to learn from this? Because it feels like after 4 years, I've learned pretty much all there is to learn, and I've learned a lot of patience, but obviously there's something more that I'm supposed to be learning. But that was definitely hard, and not a lot of people can relate to that. I have one friend who I've leaned on, and she's helped me through it immensely, and I'm really grateful for her. So anyways, that's our history, and now we're starting up with our second cycle of in vitro. Cycle is when you retrieve the eggs, make the embryos, transfer. No matter how many transfers you have, that's 1 cycle. So a second cycle is starting from scratch, and that's what we're doing now. So thank you guys for letting me use this as an outlet to share my feelings. There's so many different topics that I've thought of that I want to share, but I just wanted to give you a little brief history so that you can know where we're coming from. And I dyed my hair by myself, so it looks different in every picture. So have a good weekend. Bye.